Street Cred Sports. Street Cred Sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping.
I'm back. Hello, this is Keenan of Street Cred Sports Training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. This is episode 76. Usually there's a week in between 75 and 76, but apparently I restructured that, and it's been about like 800 years between number 75 and number 76. I hope y'all are doing well. I am doing splendiferous. I'm just gonna make up words because there are people out there that just make up stuff and then you're supposed to believe it. So I'm just gonna start making up my own words when it comes to things. I missed y'all, and I want to say I apologize for it taking so long. I'm not gonna lie, I got to a point to where I was like, I'll do it next week. I'll do it the week after. I'll do it after that. Then it got to where I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to do podcasts anymore. But I mean, it was just, you get fatigued because you're doing a lot of different things. And I think I'm going to probably try to take what I call an annual break. I actually used that time, went to go visit family, my side, went to visit family, my wife's side, just to try to get away. Not get away, but just kind of relax, because I'm always told that I'm in go mode and I'm constantly thinking about my business. And I mean, I love my business and I love running it and I love what it produces. So, it is kind of hard, but I have to kind of, separate things and stuff. So the break wasn't because, in all honesty, it wasn't because, I had to take a break. I was just going to do it for a week or two, but then, other things were coming up, and I actually thought about doing the podcast back at home, but I was like, nah, I'm at home. I don't want to have the crackhead run up, trying to sell me something on the podcast. So I didn't want any gunshots banging out while I was doing that, or fire, police, or ambulance noises in the background. They're like, damn, where the hell is he at? So I took some time off, but I was still working. I did try not to do any content because that content would be old. Like, I'd be talking right now, like LeBron James, does well in his first NBA game. Well, that was like 20 years ago, right? 21 years ago. So, that wouldn't be as relevant. They'd be like, damn, is he okay? Is he all right? So, and the funny part is, I actually jumped on the podcast a week ago for a quick 15 minutes just to say, hey, I'm about to get back on, and get out there. And I couldn't send the file. I had to install a new one, and it didn't go. So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to get back in. So I hope all of y'all are doing well. It's been a minute, and I want to jump into some things. Now, here's the thing. I always have my little lineup, the stuff that I want to talk about. But there are two things that happened this morning after I had sent all of my stuff to my producer. And now I'm messing up the order. He's gonna be like, man, you didn't put that on there. So, but let me mention the first two things. Number one, this portion is sponsored by 915 Carpet Cleaning. They take care of all of your needs, whether it's residential or commercial, whether it's flooring or carpet. 915 Carpet Cleaning, they get the job done. Look up 915 Carpet Cleaning. The carpet cleaner before you need one. The Jets traded for Davante Adams. So the Raiders sent them there. I think it was a third-round pick or something. There's going to be some more stuff coming out. But the chemistry between them two is unreal. And I think that's going to be the difference. Like, what they were saying. And I do firmly believe if Davante Adams was there for those last two games, they win those last two games because of, the chemistry that they have. And it's important when you're playing a sport to trust, to trust the person if you're a quarterback, trusting that the receiver knows what, he's supposed to do in that instance. If you're playing basketball, to trust that the big or that guard knows, when you suck the defense in, that they got to be ready for the lob or for the catch and shoot or whatever it is, So trust is very important when it comes to sports. And there were issues, timing issues, and I think most of it is, Aaron's used to certain things, and maybe he's a little eccentric when it comes to some things. But look, I've always said it, man. That man is the greatest thrower of the football. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback ever, because that to me, that kind of stuff is kind of diluted because you don't know exactly what you're looking for when you put that out there. But I remember a game specifically where he threw a pass. I think he was going to his left, and he threw it across his body to his right to his receiver. And it might have been Davante. I'm not sure who it was. But he put that ball perfectly on the outside shoulder between Sherman, what was his name? Guys. Sherman Richardson. God. I'm drawing a blank right now, but he put it between them, and they got up and looked at each other, and you could read the lips like how the fuck did he get that ball there, right? So he's always been fat. I've always loved him. I've always loved what he does and how he. Oh, Richard Sherman. Yeah, I'm like Sherman Lewis. Like my mind sometimes. Yeah, Richard Sherman. It was a DB. He's now on the Thursday night Amazon Prime Thursday football night panel. So, but that's one thing. Now, second thing that I actually wanted to talk about was Jerry Jones, my man Jerry. Now, Jerry, I mean, y'all should know. Jerry's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He's one of the richest men in the world. One of the most successful teams business-wise. They're worth so much more money than what it was, and it's insane how much money that team is worth versus what they were when he bought it. I need to say this, that I mean, I wasn't a fan, or it wasn't a dislike or a like for Jerry, when he first took over the team. I did like Jimmy Johnson. Now, I was kind of on the fence, being a Cowboys fan at the time. But when they won, I was happy because, I really liked Jimmy Johnson. So when they won their second Super Bowl back in the 90s, yeah, it was a long time ago. And there was this thing, and Jerry fired Jimmy. And apparently Jimmy, took issue with how Jerry would come across as if he's the architect. He did this, he did that. It's your team. He's the GM. Jerry seemed to want to be in the trenches and stuff. And it was a little bit more abnormal because not only are you the GM, you're the owner of the team. So, you're doing all of these things and, you win. So you get mad because you want your credit and you fire him. Now, they win 2 years later, but everybody and their mama knows that was still Jimmy's team, right? He won with Jimmy's player. Apparently, from what I've read and heard, Barry Switzer, Barry's a really good coach. But Barry was just like, I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm gonna let it run the way it's running. So what does that tell you, right? So back then I wasn't a fan. And I told people, and I've always said it, until Jerry decides to step away and just be an owner and fires himself, they're not going to have success. There's a curse on you. We put a rook on you. Y'all got to watch that movie. So I think that was Oprah Winfrey, Color Purple, when she said, until you do right by me, nothing's going to go good for you. Something like that. But it was a powerful scene. I was like nervous in the audience and I didn't even do nothing. So in any case, for years, they have been unsuccessful. And even when they've gotten success and it was like, the Cowboys going to win the Super Bowl, they screw it up the first game in the playoffs. They haven't even made we're not talking about making the Super Bowl. They hadn't made an NFC championship since 1995, I think. It was 95 or 96. One of those years when they was the last time they went to Super Bowl. So it's been bad. And I know he's always wanted to show that, hey, you know what? I can do this without Jimmy. Right? So last year what he does is he decides from all of these years, him not putting Jimmy in the ring of honor, which Jimmy Johnson should have been a long time ago, he decides, well, I'm going to put him in the ring of honor because he knows that Jimmy put a roots and a curse on him, right? So he's like, okay, well, we got a good team right now. If I put Jimmy in the ring of honor, then I think the spell will be broken and we'll be able to go to Super Bowl. Wrong. It wasn't Jimmy who put the roots on him. We don't know who put the roots on him to not make Super Bowl. But in any case, they didn't win. So why am I talking about all of this? All right. Well, I mean, unless you're on the Rock, you know that they've been getting blasted this year at home, right? The Saints blasted them. Baltimore was blasting them, and then they took their foot off the gas. Okay, and now I think that was the only two at home, and up until Detroit. Detroit blasted them, and I knew Detroit was going to try to run it up because of what happened last year when they played, and Dallas got the benefit of a referee being, weird with not owning up to something that they had already discussed when they discussed play calls. Apparently, at the end before the game, the coaches tell the referees this formations and stuff we're going to be looking at doing, just so we'll report and stuff. So that's a whole nother thing. You can look it up if you want to play last year. But Dan Campbell was really, really upset and heated in that press conference after that game. And he said, we want to play them again. Because it was going to have to be in the playoffs. They couldn't wait to play him. Now, obviously, they didn't get a chance. But that shit didn't just go away. He was going to be ready because he knew they were going to be on the schedule. And they embarrassed them. They were running plays that you run at home when you just drawing shit up. Like, hey, you run over there to the trash can. I want you to turn around, put your hands behind your head, spin around 2 times, and then go deep. Ball going to be in the air. Right, I'm gonna run around here. I'm gonna go behind this bush. I'm gonna run in the kitchen and get a soda, and then I'm gonna come out and throw it. Right, you just making up. They was making up. So they was embarrassing them. Right, it was a hard pill to swallow. It was Jerry's birthday as well. Okay, now why is that significant? It's significant because he got embarrassed and he got asked some questions right after the game because. I'm always wondering how many GMs are taking questions after games. There's no other GMs that are taking questions after the game or reporters are meeting them. There are no owners that are taking questions after games that everybody's asking but Jerry Jones because he wants to be in front. He wants the attention and stuff like that. Okay, all right, that's cool. But when that shit is not going right, you need to own it. So he got testy with one of the reporters asking him a question, and he kind of was a little testy with his answer. Well, he does a radio talk show, 104 Shay and RJ or something. It's a Dallas local station, and they do, they have him on weekly. So the guy asked him about, what was going on as far as offseason. So now, if you don't know, Cowboys didn't make any trades. They didn't add any additions during offseason. They signed CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. Meanwhile, they lose stuff after the season was over last year. They lose a D coordinator they replaced. They lost players. They didn't bring any additions to the team. So everybody was like, well, last year's team wasn't, great. They were a good team, but they weren't really good. They had some holes that needed to be filled. And you don't make any offseason changes. You don't do anything to make your team better. So what look was they were not going to be a good football team and they were going to struggle to make the playoffs, right? And they've won 12 games like the last 3-4 years in a row, but they were going to struggle mightily. And it has shown, right? I don't think they've been dominant. I think the first game of the season against Cleveland looked really good, but you've seen how Cleveland looks. So how big of a, how big is that as a win? Okay. But he gets, he doesn't do any moves. Everybody's kind of looking, saying, yeah, they're not going to be pretty good. They're not going to be really good. So the radio show announcer asked him a question about, the offseason moves, not making any moves. Does he, how is he looking at it and stuff? Jerry go off on him. He goes off on him in a way that he actually tells him, and I'm paraphrasing, that he can get somebody else to ask those questions. It's sounding kind of like, you know what, you keep talking, and I'll replace your ass. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is it's just another reason for me not to roll with him or the Cowboys, because you got all of this money, right? And you if you're not gonna allow somebody to ask legitimate questions and questions that everybody want to know, why don't you tell them pre-recorded, or say, hey, look, I'm gonna ask myself the question and then I'll answer it. Because what he did was wrong. Now he'll probably come out at some point. Somebody will get in his ear and say, "Hey, man, you know what? You're taking a lot of heat for that. We need to come out and say something." He'll probably come out and try to smooth it over. But here's the thing: when he was getting on him, he was getting on the radio host, and they were kind of chuckling like, "Well, Jerry, we're just trying to get a sense and stuff." And he asked question, and Jerry said, I'm not laughing. Like, I don't think that shit is funny. You come on over here and you do this and that, and we'll see, right? And then he told him that. And I'm just like, well, I'm not shocked by it, because there have been rumors about stuff Jerry Jones has said and done. The writing's always been on the wall, but people, that are Cowboys fans, they're like, well, that's our team. Okay, I get it. You root for them. I have some people that root for them. They like the team, but they don't like the ownership and all that other stuff. I just couldn't roll with somebody who has a history of doing stuff. And now he's all of that stuff is starting to come on to catch up with him. And he's being more vocal and defiant about who he is and what he's about. And it's a bad look. It's a very bad look. And now you got people who were kind of on the fence. They might have not been Cowboys fans. They don't really hate them. They don't really like them. Now you got a lot more people like, man, I hope you never win a game, let alone a playoff win. I hope you never win. I hope you never see something until your ass retire, which isn't gonna happen. Unfortunately, I would never be one to say, that man needs to die or anything like that. That's horrible. No matter how bad of a person. Well, I ain't gonna lie. There are some people out in this world, and I'm like, yo, you know what? The world will be a better place when you take your last breath, right? There are people in this world because they've done some evil stuff. I'm not saying that with Jerry, but I know the sentiment throughout the years has been, well, once he passes, then the team can get on the right track, because he will no longer be the GM. But I was kind of laughing, because I was like, no, he going to put in his paperwork that he's still a GM. So he'll be in there, he'll be there at draft after he passed, when they're in the war room getting ready to make their pick, and they'll have the Cowboys on the clock, and they're gonna make a pick, and they're looking like, well, we can't make a pick because Jerry says he's still gonna make the pick, but Jerry not here. He passed away 6 months ago. So what are we supposed to do? So they're not gonna be able to sign or do anything because of that. So it was kind of funny the way it was framed. Not making light of somebody passing, but the ideal of if he did pass and he still held the power, that nobody can make any decisions because he's still a GM. So I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was awful. And anybody out there listening, if you are a CEO, if you own a business, whether it's a multi-billion, million, or a local business, you can't treat people like that. You can't. Now I know there are times when people are asses, then you kind of step out and let them know, that you're a big dog. I get that when you need to put somebody in their place. But what he did was he didn't want to answer a question that everybody has been asking that he knows is relevant, and he took the time out to try to flex his muscles on a person who was on the radio. So, hey, we rolling with you. I don't know the name. I don't know the name of the guy in the radio station, but hey, but Street Cred Sports is rolling with you on that, man. We ride or die with you. We ain't rolling with what Jerry did. Okay, so that was the two things I wanted to talk about. So I'm gonna kind of go through a lot of some of this other stuff and just kind of rewrite. My producer's gonna be mad. Like, wait a minute, I thought we was gonna talk about this. All right, look, I want to know, will UTEP be able to sustain a football team in the coming years? Right now, here's why I asked this. I was talking to somebody who's in the know, and just casual conversation, messing with them and stuff. And I was told that if it wasn't for the Sun Bowl, meaning the Sun Bowl game that they have annually, the Monster Truck Show, and the concerts and other things that brings, they might not have a football program. And I stopped and thought about that, and I was like, okay, I always thought all that stuff was other revenue, but yeah, they don't generate a lot of money, if anything, from the football program because they don't typically win. They haven't had really winning seasons. And it doesn't look like they're going to win because I believe they're 0-5 right now, 0-6, somewhere in that area. And it's surprising because they've lost games. Like you have some games on the schedule, like, okay, yeah, we're playing Nebraska, or we're playing Texas and stuff like that. Yeah, we're not gonna win. We're going to them. They're gonna pay us. Like you're gonna get paid to go over there and get your ass kicked. That's like, come on over here, man. I got some money for you. I'm gonna punch you in the mouth for like $100K. All right, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth, and then here's a check for $100K. It's real. You're gonna get the money deposited before you get punched. All right, that's kind of how the smaller teams go because it helps them put money in their budget, right? Well, there are games that they should have won, but they didn't win. Now, this coach is new, and you always have the thing where you got to give them 2, maybe 3 years. But this has been bad, these first 6 games. And I have to wonder if he's going to make 2 years. I hope he does. He seems like a young, charismatic person, and you got to give him an opportunity to get the people, in place that he needs, because sometimes you're coming over taking a program that might not be good, and you got to, you don't have time to get what you need to get in. So it takes you a little while to get your system in place and the players around. So he has some good stuff there, but it's bad. And here's a running joke. I know I'm gonna get killed for this, but every year my wife says, "Well, baby, are we gonna go to a football game?" And I always tell her, "Well, let's wait around November. End of October into November." Because if they're losing, which is probably going to be happening, there are going to be plenty of seats. We could buy a seat up here and we could move down anywhere. Hell, I might even be able to get on the field and run a play or two, girl. I show you that I can run through a tackle. So I know that's messed up, y'all. I know that's messed up to say that, but it has been that way. And even though I make these kind of jokes, I am pulling for them. I'm not pulling for them to lose, but I can't ignore the fact that they have not been good. I mean, I could tell stories about my freshman year, and knowing some of the guys on the team and like, yeah, man, we ready and stuff. And then they getting blasted by like 55 points. And then the next day we like, yo, what happened? I don't want to talk about it. Like, oh, yeah, no, I get it. Right now, I know you. I wouldn't want to talk about it. So, it's amazing that never crossed my mind. And you've seen programs in the past where they've dissolved a program. They don't have a program anymore. And that's a real question. Like, because there's really no attendance. So I think if they're selling out the Sun Bowl, in certain ways, then it could make up between all of those things. They have enough to, keep the budget running. They dropped the prices. I believe the tickets are $9.15, which is, cool marketing ploy because it's 915. But even at that, you're not getting people in the seats. And for some people say, oh well, El Paso is a bandwagon city. I think with some things maybe, but who's gonna spend money and time to go to something, you know, and just watch something bad product. Now, if you go to a movie and the movie's bad, it's not like you're gonna go see the sequel if there is a sequel because the movie's bad, right? If you go out to a bowl or something, if you have a bad bowling game, that's on you, but you have fun. So, when you go out, you spend money and stuff. Those are things you can control. But seeing something like that, name me one team in the history of sports where the team is bad and they're still selling out, right? If the team is really bad, like really bad, they're selling out. You have some teams that end up being 500 and they're competitive, right? But if you're losing really bad, I would like to know that. So if please, because I'd be the first to say, damn, I didn't realize that that was the case. Now I know some places they do get people in the seats, even though they might not be a really, really good team. They lose, but they're competitive. But that's because where they're at, that's all they have. You would think in El Paso, we don't have a NFL pro team or any pro teams here. We got some semi-pro teams. But you would think that, with it being the only game in town football, that it would be that. But it hasn't been. So I don't think the program's going to go away. It was just, I never thought that was a thing, and that was how it was, apparently it's always been processed. So hopefully they can turn it around. I think, he can turn around at some point, but right now it doesn't look good. But sometimes when you're at rock bottom, you only got up to go, right? Unless that bottom that you're on is actually a false bottom, and then you finna fall into a bottomless pit. All right, so I got another question. I want to ask you, how long do you see someone play before you say they are who they are, right? Like, how many years does a player have to play in any sport to where you see that player and you just say, yeah, man, that's who that player is, right? That player is not going to do anything different. Now, I'm going to use two examples. By no means with these examples am I disparaging these young men. And I say young men because I'm 52. So I don't say it with a disrespect. I'm using them as an example. Okay, Jacoby Brissett. He was the starting quarterback with the Patriots. He got on, he was given a starter. They drafted a kid really high in the first round. I think it was in the top 10, Drake May, somewhere in the top. He one of the top quarterbacks taken. So you figure he's going to play. But normally they say, we're not going to rush the kid. We're going to give him time. We're going to go with Jacoby Brissett. Now, Jacoby Brissett has started and ran the team for the Patriots and for other couple of organizations, right, throughout the years. I don't know what year it is that he's in. I'm going to assume he's maybe been in the league, 7+ years maybe. So it's one of those things where you look at him and you say, okay, well, he what he is. So what I mean by that, okay, he was drafted in 2016. So he's been in the league. Yeah, he's been in the league 8 years. Okay, so he's drafted by the Patriots. He was with the Colts for a while. He was with the Dolphins for a year. He was with the Browns for a year. He was with the Commanders for a year, and now he's with the Patriots. I want to say at every one of those places, he'd have an opportunity to play where he played, maybe he started, or anything like that. So apparently he wasn't as excited. He wasn't happy at the fact that, they were going to Drake May. My question is, he's had 5 or 6 games to show why he should be the starter. And his game looks reminiscent to what it has looked like all of these years. As a serviceable, well, how am I trying to say this? As a backup, right? Backups come in, they take care of business for a little bit, and then starter comes back. They hold it down, and he hasn't done anything in a wowing factor. I mean, he hasn't, as far as I know, he's been a good quarterback. But if you haven't done enough to secure and show that you are the guy, and that, this rookie needs to fall in line and wait his turn, because you are going to take that team, and then they bring him in, you can't be upset. And I say that because we've had enough film and enough years of watching him play to know that maybe that's who he is. Now, obviously, your ego, your pride is hurt because you get taken out. But when you have an opportunity to show that you can do what you do, and you don't do it, and you haven't done it for 8 years, what would you expect? Okay. Now, next example I'm going to use is Russell Westbrook. Now, Russell Westbrook is now with the Denver Nuggets, right? He was with who was he with before? OKC, right? Won the won the MVP at Oklahoma City. Then he gets traded. Okay, so he gets traded to the Rockets, and then he goes from the Rockets, I think the Clippers. Then from the Clippers, goodness, where else has he been? He's been in a while. Now, the knock on Russell Westbrook has been that he's not a three-point shooter, right? And for him to be, successful. Okay, so Russell Westbrook was OKC back in 2008 is when he was drafted. He's been with the Rockets. He went to the Wizards. Then he went to the Lakers. Then he went to Clippers. Now he's with the Denver Nuggets, right? So Russell Westbrook has been a phenomenal athletic guard, able to get up. He pushes the pace. He puts pressure on the defense, getting to the basket. He has a really nice mid-range pull-up. What Russell Westbrook has not been in his career is a consistent three-point shooter. I know he works on his threes. You see him working on it. I don't know how much he works on it. I'm not there, so I can't tell you that, he works. He gets up, 500-600 threes a day. He has this guy who's helping him with his threes. They're trying to figure it out so he can get, better at his shot. I don't know if he is or isn't. All I can go by is that in a game, people don't even guard him when he's shooting threes, right? So I say that to say, when you put him on a team and you put him in a position, like for instance, when he was with the Lakers, okay, he's not going to be running point because LeBron's going to run point. He's going to need to kind of be, stand over here. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to pull guys over, and then I'm going to pass to you and you can get a shot, right? And when he gets a shot, it's a three. Because people are like, shade over here. We're gonna make him take that three. When he takes it, he misses it, right? So he's been that guy. So now he's in Denver, and with Denver, you got the Joker. You got these other guys. You want to surround Joker with guys who can shoot threes. So I'm not gonna say what value does he bring, because he does bring a lot of value. He is a great competitor and a great player, but he's not a consistent three-point shooter. So there's a time where you have to sit back and say that's not going to be in his game. That's not something he's going to be ever consistent with. he might be streaky and make some, but history has shown that he's not he hasn't progressively gotten better at that aspect of his game. With the way the game is trending now, it's hard to be on the floor if you're not a constant threat to be able to hit 39 to 40%. And I don't think he's anywhere near that when he's shooting. He'll make a few, but then he'll miss a ton after he makes a few. And the fact that they allow him to continually shoot threes is signaling to me that he's the one that they want shooting threes, right? So my question is, how long do you see a person before you can tell that, man, that's just who that person is, right? That person won't get better in those aspects. This person is going to be a backup, quarterback, or this person's just going to be a really good player that can't shoot threes. Now, on the NBA level, I mean, in my eyes, hey, they're still professional athletes. They're still playing. They're getting checked. So it's great. But you have to understand sometimes a person who I always say, I always need 3 to 4 years before I can really make that hey, after 3 or 4 years, this is who this person is. They're not going to change. Now, you can prove me wrong, because I've seen some people say, hey, well, they put in time and work and effort in getting better. You can't just go in and shoot, right? Some people think, I'm just going to shoot. You're just going to shoot. No, it doesn't work that way, because you have to understand why you're missing. And that's what I tell my kids. You got to understand why you're missing these shots before you can fix them. So I've always wondered that. I would like to know, what do y'all think? How do y'all, how long do y'all think you could see someone play before you say they are who they are? Right? And it's nothing bad. It's just, man, this is who this guy is, right? It's not going to get better. Like at some point I knew I wasn't going to grow anymore. I am who I am, right? I'm not a 6-foot guard. Had to be okay with that. I mean, there wasn't nothing in science that you could take a pill. There was no exercises that I could stretch my body out, right? I know it's a little different, but I'm just using myself as an example with some things. But it's odd. It's odd that how you would think that people can't add things to their games year after year. They can't get better at their games year after year after year. You should, in my opinion, you should be able to do that if you're professional, because, if you have the opportunity to be able to show that you can lead a team. Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was top draft pick. He was with the Jets. Didn't go well. He ended up being benched. He got traded to a few different teams, right? He ended up in San Francisco, where it was talked that he could have actually gotten a nod over Purdy. But Purdy's pretty good. I love saying that. I don't know why. It's like I feel like I should get some kind of, meme for me saying that, in some kind of award or something. But in any case, Sam Darnold goes to Vikings. Their number one guy gets hurt. They ship off Kirk Cousins. Sam Darnold is running the team, and they are undefeated, I believe, at 5-0, and he's looking really good. Not pretty good, but he's looking really, really good. So now he's a starter, and now he's going to be able to find new life. Now, as the season goes, we will get to see how good he continues to be. But is he who we thought he was based on the years of playing? Or is he better because he's playing at a place where now he has a better system, he has weapons and stuff. There are a lot of intangibles in it. But you have to ultimately go by what you see, right? Not what you're projecting and what you're thinking. You got to say, no, this is what it is. Okay, so since I had to deviate from some of those things, I am going to go into my basketball ideology. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between understanding a move that you work on, and it could be anything. It doesn't mean when I say a move, it's, this double crossover two dribble spin move around the bag, reverse layup, right? No, it could be understanding the move that you work on, could be working on passing, getting the proper separation on the jab and cut to the basket. It could be setting a really good screen to where you allow your teammate to get where he or she needs to go. It could be coming over the screen with great purpose to give yourself the best chance to receive the ball and get a shot. So when I say move, I don't want you to immediately think, oh, I'm talking about some intricate seven dribble move at the top of the key before you even make a move. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The question is, is there a difference? I believe it's not really a question. It's me saying that there is a difference between understanding the move and understanding how to utilize it in an offense. That is a disconnect that I grow to great pains to try and rectify with kids. I tell the kids, there are steps, there are levels when I train. I have to work with them to get said move or whatever it is, skill, up to par, to where they feel comfortable enough to utilize it when they need to, right? And it's not just, oh, we're going to work on this, 6 dribble combination move from the top. No, I'm working on all different things. I'm working on the game, because not everybody's going to be able to do any of the stuff that I work with them on. Well, why are you working on it? Well, they need to have confidence to be able to put the ball on the floor if there's a situation where they have to dribble a ball. I don't want them to be scared to bounce the ball. I want them to be confident enough to where they might not be able to turn around and do an in and out crossover, but they can catch the ball, and if they're being pressured, they can go into a power dribble, retreat dribble, turn, and make that pass confidently. That's what I want. So that's why all of those things are worked on. And I tell them, you work on these things. It doesn't mean you're going to do them, but if you are in that situation, you will have confidence to at least get yourself out of a bad situation. And great thing is, if you see something, you can attack it. Well, when you're running an offense, most of the time with everything that I do, you're going to have opportunities to utilize something quick within an offense. If you know and understand where you're going to have an advantage within that offense, right? So if I work on a catch, pump fake, jab right, one dribble left, then quick crossover back to the right, and you're running maybe a 4 out where the ball gets skipped to you and that guy is going through, so you catch the ball and you catch it in a situation where that defender is, maybe a little help. He comes out to you. You're catching it to get ready to shoot. He jumps or he comes off his feet, and then you jab right, and then you got him off. So then you go take a dribble to the left, and he quickly tries to get over there. He overextends. Then you quickly cross over back to the right, and then you got him. So it sounds complicated, but it was a really simple thing that we worked on in a situation where you could utilize it and be advantageous, right? So that's just one example. But I do have to tell kids that, look, all I want you to do is something that was quick, efficient, and it was the right play. All right. That's what you want to build yourself to do, and not so much try to make all of these, intricate moves and stuff. Now I teach them because, number one, some kids need to be shown different things to see where they're at and understand that, okay, yeah, it's a lot that I need to get better. Sometimes I wish I had a GoPro, or I wish I had a drone that could sit in there, because some of these kids come in and they can dribble a ball. They can dribble and stuff. They can dribble a ball. And then sometimes I'll do a drill and they kind of get cocky. Like, come on, coach. So then I have to go from 52 to 25 with my dribbling and show them where they're not at and make sure they understand, dog, look, I've been doing this for a long time and at a way high level. You're doing this here in practice, but in the games, you're not doing this. So we need to understand that. And that's something that I pressed on my kids about. I don't want you just working on this here. You need to be trying to implement something in the game. You need to show it needs to be shown that you're progressing as a player, right? So in order to get them to see it, I have to put them in game situations. So now they can see this is why we worked on these moves and this is how this is gonna apply. And it could just be something as simple as when they're coming closing out, you have to see where they're at and you have to be ready to shoot. So if you're ready to shoot as you're catching the pass and you're going up quicker, you're gonna force that defender to close out quicker and jump quicker, right? Now they're off their feet, and now you can just attack the basket with either a 1 or 2 dribble pull up or a 1 or 2 dribble layup, right? Make it real simple. Now next time you get there, he's not gonna be so quick to close out because he's worried about you driving instinctually, so he's not gonna close out jumping. Now you got the shot. Now if you get that shot, now you put him in just a terrible situation because he doesn't know how to close out anymore. He might be disciplined enough to say, "No, we're trying to get you to take that, not take that shot, but drive. We're gonna live with our chances." Well, then that's when we say, "Hey, these are your options. They're going to give you something. The defense will give you something. It's your job to figure it out." Right? So there is a difference between understanding the move and understanding how to utilize it within an offense. Okay? All right. Now, next thing I'm going to touch on is tryouts. Why some are not prepared for tryouts. And this has been a ongoing thing. I wish, my ultimate wish would be to have a seminar. I really would. I would have a seminar, a free seminar with every city league coach that's here. Now, I'm not going to say, I probably AAU coaches too, but all the coaches that coach these kids up to 6th grade, and sit them down and tell them that a lot of y'all are hurting the development of these kids. Well, how you know that? Because I get kids that play on some of these teams. Not all, but I get kids that play on teams for 2 or 3 years and they still barely know how to dribble. I get kids who play on teams for 2 or 3 years or 3 or 4 different teams over a 4 or 5 year span, and they don't understand what offense is. They don't understand what plays are. So guess what? When these kids find us, and they're in 7th, 8th grade, they're going in their freshman year, and they're thinking about trying to make the team, and they haven't played with an established team that's developing enough, because they're, most of them are just wanting to win, so they get more kids or something. It's an odd concept to me, because to me, the way you continue to get to have kids gravitate to you is the success, where you can show that every kid that comes in our team doesn't mean they're going to make their high school team, but they're going to be prepared. They're going to know the little things. Because when high school coaches message me, "Man, are you going to do a clinic or a camp for tryouts?" I was actually going to do one, but I just didn't have the time. I'm going to do something for middle school. I'm going to put it out. I'm going to do something for middle school, but I wasn't able to do something for high school because I kind of waited too late. But it was, what are some things that you need these kids to be able to learn? Paying attention, being on time. Now, these are 2 things that you would think that kids would know when they come in. Paying attention, being on time. Nope, they don't know how to do that. Basic footwork, understanding the plays, being able to look up when you dribble, finishing with both hands. These are high school coaches asking me this. Not asking me, but telling me this. And it's not freshmen. It's not just freshmen. I've gotten kids that were juniors, some seniors, that I was just kind of shocked with how, damn, like, you've been in that program for that long? And if it's a program where I know a coach, I tend to have a conversation because, look, I know and understand that you can't force a kid to get better. I can't force a kid if they come in. Now, I figure I have a better chance of getting that kid to be better than a high school coach. And the reason I say that is because they're paying to come to me. Right? So those parents are saying, "Hey, look, this is what you want. We're paying for it. High school, you're going. You don't pay to play in high school. Well, you're not supposed to, but I hear there are some that do. That's another subject for another day. But you get these things that happen where you're paying me, and it's my job to show them how to do whatever it is they need to do. Now, I evaluate them weekly by when they come back. I'm like, hey, how much did you work on this? And I tell them to this day, like, you can't come in here and tell me you did something when I can clearly see that you didn't. Now I have kids that I can see, like, yeah, okay, they worked on that because I can tell. So now I can progress them and continue. But then the kids that don't, they don't. I don't try to keep them too long. But my understanding with what I do seems to be different with what other people do, because the development isn't there. And some of it is not their fault because some of them don't know how. So I would gladly do a seminar where I could put the information and say, look, if you want a successful program, these are the things, key points you need to hit on with your kids, right? But until you do that, you're going to get new kids, but for that parent for those people who really do their research, they're going to see, man, you're not a good organization because you have a very high turnover rate. There are going to be kids that leave because their parents want their kids to be special, and without understanding that their kid isn't special. They're special to them, but they're not a special player, right? And there's a difference. And I get it, as parents, we're like, we want our kids to always be the best. But you have to step outside and realistically say, yeah, no, you're not as good as that kid. Now you need to get better, but you're not as good at them. So it's a whole bunch of layers that go into that. But just basic development, we're not doing it. And I've been saying this, which is why I created what I started. I've been saying this for 20 years, which is why I started doing training. And now you got people come out saying it, yo, as a country, we're not developing kids. It's just about playing. And it's hard to try to have these parents understand that, because parents are thinking, oh, there are people that tell them, oh, all he has to do is keep playing and he'll get better. That's bullshit. Because you're going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And if that coach isn't aware enough and understanding how to correct that and show you, you're not going to get better. Because most of these coaches, well, you know what they do? They turn around and bench you and put somebody else in that knows what they're doing. And when they have practice the next day because they got slaughtered from a team that was pressing, they won't work on a press breaker or try to show the kids how to react and know what to do within that press. Guess who does? We do. Guess who gets these results? We do. Time and time again, parents come and tell me, yo, you know what? That thing that you worked on, showing my kid this and that, it helps tremendously. Now they're not doing that. And then the coach is like, wow, you're getting really good. That's what the coaches should be trying to do. If they can't do it, then they need to be trying to partner with people who know what they're doing. They don't have to be with me, but whoever they do, they got to make sure they know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing. I just gonna put it out there. But I say all of that to say, if these kids are prepared at an earlier age, when they first start, from second grade, I had a parent, I think I might have mentioned this once. I had a parent who called me wanting me to work her child out. And I said, okay, and I'm explaining the process and stuff. It's like, yeah, I want him to be the next LeBron James. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to say, well, he ain't. I love it because you aspire to be. If you're aspiring to be the next LeBron James, you're going to have the work ethic. Now, a lot of people don't know what that means until they start doing it. But she said, oh, yeah, he's 3 years old. And I'm like, 3? I was like, no, we don't take kids 3 years old. At 3 years old, that kid doesn't know whether he wants milk and cereal in his bottle, or if he's potty trained. I know the kid's potty trained. I didn't say that to the parent, but it's like there's so many other things that kid is trying to still learn and process. Coming to us, it's not going to work because we would be very limited in training that kid, and in being very limited, how do I price that? Because now I have to not do certain things to help that kid. So there's an age limit with us. But needless to say, I was flattered that the parent called, but I said no, we can't do 3. So I'm saying all of this. I'm not really rambling, but I'm saying all of these things because if you do better jobs with these teams that you've created these multiple teams where you have 3rd graders, 4th graders, 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders, and they're developed and they're playing. By the time these kids get to high school, they are where they need to be. Now, if it's advanced concepts, maybe most of these, 98% of these coaches can't teach advanced concepts and stuff. And it's not nothing wrong with it, but I mean, everybody has a ceiling that they're able to do when it comes to whatever they're doing, right? We all have ceilings and stuff. But in any case, if those kids know enough, then when they go to try out, they're going to be competitive. And that coach is going to be excited because he has 30 to 40 kids that he can pull from. And it's just such a hard choice to see who's the best fit, as opposed to putting kids in and having 90 kids try out and you're cutting 65 kids within the first 15 minutes because those kids can't do basic dribbling, basic triple threat, basic layups, basic jump shots, basic passing, basic defensive stance. They don't know how to do it because they've never been taught. So, tryouts. That's why some are not prepared, because they don't know the basics. And that's what the coaches tell me, and that's why they get kind of on me, because they say you should be doing this stuff for camps and stuff. And I've kind of got away from camps, but I think I might start putting it on my calendar to do something big where I'm teaching fundamentals to these kids, footwork and stuff. Because my kids, I ask them, like, look, tryouts are coming up. We've worked a lot on these different things. I need you to give me your 3 biggest things that you need to work on. And then they say, okay. So, like, throughout the course of the summer, we were working on stuff. Coach, I want to work on my one dribble pull-ups. I want to work on my ball handling. Okay, so I have to do those things because, that's what the client and customer is asking for, right? And we do it, and I add different things. But now when I ask you about the tryouts in like 2 weeks, what you need to work on, footwork and understanding offenses. Wait a minute, hold on now. You mean to tell me all this time we've been working and I've been going through stuff, your offensive, IQ is not where it needs to be? That's a problem. How do I shift? I make sure I ask these questions now. But we will do it, and this is why kids aren't prepared. Okay, so last thing is I just want to mention there have been a lot of changes, okay? And there are things that I have implemented. I put out a flyer. It was coming soon. We are going, we're not shifting. We're just adding. All I'm doing is adding interactive, immersive technology to our training. Now, the question is why? Because I am trying to give all of our kids and anybody who knows of our organization a competitive edge. Not only can you come in and train with us, but we're going to give you extra tools that you can utilize on your own. We have the NOAA analytical shooting technology. That's not offered anywhere in the city. I don't even think within a 300 or 400 mile radius can you find an organization or a place that uses NOAA. We have NOAA. It's remarkable. It obviously it tracks your shots, and it does some things like, what you like if you use some of these apps, you can see your shot and stuff. But this one tracks your arc, which should be at 45 degrees. It tracks your depth of the shooting, how deep the ball goes into the rim. It tracks it. It should be between 9 and 11 inches. And then it tracks your left right, meaning there's a 0, there's a point in the goal where it's, that's where you need to be shooting online. If you go to the right or to the left, it tells you, right? So there is no other technology out there that gives you instant feedback. So when I take that shot and that ball hits, the NOAA tells me 50. My arc was at 50, or my depth was at 12, or my left right was at +2, meaning it was going to the right, or -1, it was to the left. So now when I hear it, I can actually turn around and my next shot, I can try to correct it. So I'm working on my muscle memory because I'm getting instantaneous audio feedback along with all the shot charts. So then I'm getting all this information, whatever it's telling me, it's tracking it. So I can log onto the app at the end and see every single shot I took, what the arc, what the depth, what the left right was. And it lets me know if it's green, that means it's good. If it's yellow, it's okay, it's average, but needs improvement. If it's red, well, you know what that is, right? So you get those, and it gives you a score as for your shot or your, all your steps that you need to take. How consistent you are on it. It is absolutely amazing, and I have it. We have it here at our place. Right? So the other thing we have that we've gotten is called laser ball handling. And it's like Guitar Hero, but it's with basketball. You're standing there in front, camera's tracking you, and you're dribbling. And you're doing the different dribbling drills to help improve your ball handling. It's a workout in itself. This is something that we have, so we can add this and have kids doing this as well. Or hey, if you want to come in and just work on ball handling, there's a way to do that as well. You sit in there, the camera sees it, you have your own little account. It shows you, like, if you're like, man, what's going on? You want to look at yourself, you can look at yourself, say, oh, okay, I'm too high. I'm not standing over. I'm not standing in proper position. Maybe I'm leaning too far up. Right? That's the laser. Then the last one, next thing we have is called Mastermind. Mastermind is a virtual reality. Now, I will tell you, I think I tried virtual reality maybe a few years ago with a game, right? But in order to have some of this technology stuff, I needed to get virtual reality. So I got a virtual reality glasses. I got the Quest 3, and I'm kind of hooked, y'all. I'm kind of hooked on virtual reality. When I put it on and I went into the game, all you heard me say was, I sounded like a 7 or 8-year-old kid. I said, whoa, as I'm looking around. I'm scared to move because it looks like if I take a step, I'm going to fall. I'm in the galaxy. I'm going to fall like endless and be like floating in space. It was amazing. I was like, I might just buy one for us at the house just to have, because it was that amazing. I played a game. I'm getting off subject, but I played a game at home where it mapped out the house, and then the game was these little fur babies that I had to catch with these little guns. I had to shoot them, and it captured them like bubbles. And I'm shooting at my wall, and the wall is popping off, and now I'm in another universe. I shot at the ceiling, and part of the ceiling went away, and now I'm looking at this alternate moon like I'm in a different universe, and I'm like, what the what the is this? And I'm just shooting. The dogs are sitting on top of me. They're not on top of me. They're sitting on the couch, and the fur babies things are on top of the dogs, and I'm shooting at them to get them, and I'm like, man, this is so amazing. So like, the stuff that you can do with VR with the Mastermind is amazing, because I've went through it, and it is immersive. It is great because it's a cognitive training tool. The great thing about this is you don't have to be here with us to do it. You can do it on your tablet, and if you have VR glasses at home, you can do it at home. But it is a sports educational based app, and it is a program rather. And it will work on those things, because I'm going through the program myself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a sports guy. I know how to do these things. And I'm like, man, this is a little work. I'm really, really working on my visual acuity and stuff, and my peripheral vision. It's working on a lot of those things, right? And I love it because kids play video games. And this is my way of trying to reach them and give parents time to say, well, you know what, you can get better, and I have to be there, and I can track your progress on it. And the last one is called VREP, virtual repetition. it's the reason that I was looking for this for years, and I found it, and this was the first thing I looked at getting before the Noah, before Mastermind, before Laser. With this, same thing, virtual or on the tablet, but this is about basketball. So you put those headphones on. I'm on the court, dog. I'm stretching. I'm back 25. Hey, give me the ball. Well, what this does is it helps you understand the game. So if I'm gonna teach a group of young kids the 2-3 zone, there's a whole catalog library of stuff for the 2-3, comprehensive. You get to see the plays that they run, then actual gameplay, and then it puts you in and you can watch a virtual reality set where they're running the play. And then it puts you in first person. So you're in the actual game. So it's like, hey, now, man, you're supposed to go here. Well, okay, yeah, it's teaching. You got to go here when you make this pass. You got to move here when you make this pass, right? This is how you got to move. When the ball gets kicked over you to the corner, that guy closing out, it'll take you over it. First time you get it, that person's in the paint. So when you catch it, it's a catch and shoot. Next time, the other person up top drops down, and now you pass it to your teammate for a shot. Then the next time, the person actually gets out there, but they're overextending because they're contesting the shot. So you give them a fake, or you just drive to the basket. So what does this game do? When it puts you in live and you're going to be tested, the ball comes over to you, and as you catch it, as you're getting ready to catch it, it asks you, are you shooting, passing, or driving? And you have to remember what you just saw. And if you answer it right, yes, you answer it right, you understood. If not, you got to go back and see it again, right? So you know that, okay, in this situation, I should be shooting because this is what I saw that led me to know that this was a shot. In this situation, I should be passing because this is what I saw that led me to pass. In this situation, I should be driving because this is what I saw that led me to know I was driving. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So I am so glad that I found this. And again, you can do this at home. You have your virtual reality goggles. I call them goggles. I gotta find out what it is. Is it virtual reality headset? I think. But I always say virtual reality glasses because it's like I'm putting on glasses. So you could tell that I'm an old head because I'm like, he don't even know how to say it. It's virtual reality headset. He talking about goggles. What kind of old dude is he? But I learned. So if you're wearing a headset, if you had a headset, it's super amazing because the way it puts you in stuff. If you don't, you had a tablet, it's still amazing because you're still in third person. It's just you don't see it as if you're on the court, right? But in any case, that app does so much. It is going to help. This stuff is going to help such a broader audience, and it's going to bring things that it's helping me, and it's giving me ideas to help in ways that didn't even anticipate. So this stuff is coming. It is coming, and it's going to. Look, I'm gonna say it. I can say it confidently, not so much cocky, but our organization is pioneers. We've been doing this longer than hell. Most of these people who are coaching, most of these people who have their own teams, most of these people, not most. Like almost probably 90% of the people who are doing this weren't doing it when I started training. They didn't have their own training program because some of them were probably in high school. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I'm just saying I've been doing this for a long time. So having this and adding this, nobody else has this right now. Now, probably in 3-6 months, they see what it's doing. They might try to get in and start doing their own thing. But what I got right now, it's game changing. Literally, it's kind of weird that I say game, but it is a changer. It is something that kids will definitely be able to utilize and add because the science behind this stuff shows that it does. So this was research that I did and figuring out how I could add and stuff, and I found 4 elements of it, and I'm starting to implement it. So that was kind of a reason why I was out, wasn't doing this much, but now I'm going to start implementing. So stay tuned, because you're about to start seeing this stuff, and I'm going to put information. Hey, if you want a demo, if you want to understand, you can come in. Plus, I decided I think I mentioned to y'all, I did a online course. It didn't work out. We weren't prepared to put it out there in a way. So I put it on my YouTube. So it's free content. So for those of you who are listening, if you have a child, you can send your child to my free YouTube online fundamentals course, and they can go ball handling, passing, defense, shooting, all of that stuff. So stay tuned, because we are expanding in a different way. Not expanding to a big place with 7 courses, but I'm expanding people's mind and thought process on how to get better, along with the training that we offer. So I appreciate y'all. Remember, look, like, subscribe, follow, comment. I tend to be everywhere. Although on my TikTok, I don't have the account. I have to go to my digital content to find out, hey, did I get any views, any questions? But people ask questions now. So pay attention to where we are and reach out. If there's a video, if there's something that you need help with on the YouTube, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, I'll make a little quick video to try to help you out on that, and I'll put it up there. And if it's something you looking for, it's probably tens of thousands of other people that are looking for it. So follow us on that and all the other places, and stay tuned, because it's about to get really exciting. So I know I talked a long time. I thought this was going to be one of those filibusters like the government does, where I stand up here for like 24 hours and just continually talk just because I've missed so much. But no, I'm going to end it right there. And I am happy to be back. I feel in my element. I don't feel lost. Feel weird, but yeah, I'm back at it. So I'm going to end it like I always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. I'm out.
Street Cred Sports, say it with your chest. Yeah. Go get it from the net. Street Cred Sports, okay, that's a bet.